today we'll be seeing the number of ways in which we can create a deep copy or a shallow copy in Angular. But before we jump on to the various ways through which we can create a deep copy, let's just understand what is the difference between a deep copy and a shallow copy in Angular. So let's walk you through the code first. So this is the contacts array that we are currently using to iterate and load the table dynamically. So now what I do is I create another variable contacts1 and assign this dot contacts to it directly. After creating the contacts1 variable, what I'll do is I'll inject one more contact within the existing array. So the way you do that is, if you have already familiar, then we basically use the push function of the array and we'll push in a new contact within the existing array. So now what this will do is, if I try to push in a new object within contacts1, ideally this dot contact should not be impacted. But what this does is, if we directly assign this dot contacts to contacts1, it will create a shallow copy of this dot contacts and it will assign it to contacts1. By shallow copy, what I mean is the memory location where this is stored, both will be pointing to the same memory location, this dot contacts and the newly created variable. So now if I just go back to the UI, you will see the object that I had added in contacts1 is also reflecting within the table, which we clearly don't want, right? So in that case, to avoid this, so what we'll do is we'll see the various ways to create a deep copy. So the first and the most common way to use is using the JSON.parse and JSON.stringify method. So let's just check that out first. So JSON.parse, and within this JSON.stringify. So what this will do is, it will create two separate entities of contacts, and they both will be referring to different memory locations. So now if I push in a new object within contacts1, this dot contact should not be impacted. Let's just check the table. Let's just scroll down. So if you see, the object that we had injected is not present in the table. The second way to create a deep copy is using the ES6 syntax. So in ES6 we have something called as the spread and rest operator. So here we'll be using the spread operator to create a deep copy. So we use the 3 dot syntax and assign this dot contacts to contacts1. So this way it will create a deep copy of this dot contacts and assign it to contacts1. Now if I go back to the UI and check the table, the object that I pushed into contacts1 is still not visible. So again, I mean, in using this way as well, we are creating two separate copies, and both of them will be pointing to different memory locations. So the third and final way that I'll be discussing today is using a library called as Lodash. What you can do is go to the npm website, copy the npm install Lodash command and run it in your command prompt. So that will install your library, and the way you use it is, go to the component, say import star from as clonedeep from Lodash. Okay, now you can use this clonedeep and go to the contacts1. So instead of a spread operator, what you can do is use clonedeep here, put this dot contacts. So basically we are doing the same thing that we did earlier. So again, this will create a deep copy. Now if I just check the table, if I refresh it, yeah, so the object that we pushed in is still not visible. So these were the 3 ways and the most common ways that we could use to, create a deep copy in Angular.